Joe, I love all the decisions that you make at Hope Mill Theatre, but I have to say this one for me is really special. The MGM Story, a musical review. I grew up watching Judy Garland, Gene Kelly, Mickey Rooney, and this is paying homage to those golden Hollywood days, right?
Absolutely. And totally like yourself, that's how I got to know theatre, which is mad because, I'm a child of the 90s, but I was watching movies from the 30s and 40s and 50s. And it captured my, attention the way it probably did back then for audiences that went to see these movies for the first time and these great stars. And it's where my love of these great stars like Fred Astaire and Judy Garland and Gene Kelly, I mean, that's really when it all started. And I just thought it was escapism. And I even felt that as a young child myself growing up, and watching those movies and fall in love with them really is truly why I got that passion for theatre started. Before I'd even stepped foot into a theatre, I was so lucky that I had certainly my gran, she just loved all of those old musicals, and she just had them there, on videotape, or she'd record them off the telly, and we would just watch them together and sing along. And I just, yeah, just they're so beautiful, and they've stood the test of time. And that's why, MGM Story, I just fell in love with the show when I read the script.
Oh, well, honestly, you have just spoken everything that I feel when I see those movies. I still watch Easter Parade when it comes on the telly. Meet Me in St. Louis is a standard in our house because everything seemed so glorious and wonderful, and just seeing them break into song and both know the dance routine when they'd only just met. It's like, wow, I need to be a part of this. But how do you decide what to put in this review then? You said there's a script, so is there words as well as song and dance?
Absolutely. So it's so beautifully crafted and put together by the writer Chris Burgess, and we've done a few of these little review type musical shows as well in the past. But I guess essentially the MGM story takes the audience on a journey and tells the story of the rise of the great Hollywood musical. How they came about, how MGM started making these musicals, the writers that they were employing that back then were unknown writers like Irving, who were writing these incredible songs again that have just stood the test of time and we all know and love them. The directors, Vincent Minnelli, Meet Me in St. Louis, these great Technicolor dream show movies that they were making back then. The MGM, back in the 40s and 50s, were making millions from them. And the great, again, as we mentioned, the great stars that they were churning out as well. I mean, MGM's famous tagline was, they have more stars than there are in the heavens, because it was just a time where, people were going to cinema and you could probably see, a movie for not a lot of money. And it was just sheer escapism. And, what Chris has done is so beautifully is that the four actors that take you on this journey, it's informative. They'll tell you things about the movie studios or the stars or the making of the movies that maybe you didn't know. And then they sort of take you on that journey of how they were crafted and created. But then, of course, we give you those numbers as well. And it's so hard because uh, you could choose every number from one movie alone. It's hard to sort of draw out those ones that everyone will be connected to a movie in a different way. But certainly, there's Easter Parade in there, which of course you need. There's The Wizard of Oz, there's Singing in the Rain, there's Meet Me in St. Louis, there's On the Town. And there's a few in there as well up from movie musicals very much in the early stages of the MGM musical that you probably haven't heard before, but they're equally as beautiful. So yeah, there's something in there for everyone.
Well, do you know what? It'll be testing me because I think I've seen every single MGM movie that there is. In terms of the costumes then, I mean, that era was pure Hollywood glamour. Are we going for that costume styling as well? Is that something we're going to see in some of these dance routines as well as the songs?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, the whole premise of the show is almost like these four people have stumbled upon this old abandoned Hollywood film lot, where everything's sort of covered up and hidden. And then they start to reveal, the world of the glamour and the color starts to come through. And, so it's very much nods to what you expect, so there's little nods to each moment in each movie. It's almost like they're playing dressing up and telling us a story and performing these wonderful songs and dances alongside it.
Have you got a favourite MGM song then?
Oh, that's such a hard one. Do I have a favorite? I have to say Easter Parade is a favorite of mine. It's there's so much to love about that movie, and I feel like Easter time as well, being able to one of those movies where you're like, let's watch Easter Parade, and it makes you feel all the feels inside because just the cinematography of it and the numbers and the color and Judy Garland and Ann Miller and yeah, I'm a big fan of that. But also, I mean, Singing in the Rain, it just that movie, Gene Kelly, again, the rain moment, just everything about it that's just so incredibly magical. But yeah, I love them all. I'm like you, I love them all.
I walked down the aisle to "You Were Meant for Me" from
Oh,
Singin' in the Rain. I
wow.
know.
You are a
And
big
Gene Kelly, I mean, obviously he wasn't alive, but he was the one that was singing it. It was that version. So, yeah, I honestly can't wait. I shall be running there, and I just think it's just gonna warm so many people's hearts, and also for anybody who hasn't seen those MGM movies, it is something that everyone should see. It's an introduction that'll just make you go, "Wow, what an era that was."
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it almost working on the show makes you want to go and watch those movies again because the whole story is about how back then they were just life changing. People had never seen anything like it before. They'd never seen these kind of very expensive, extravagant movies, and it's just, what's lovely as well is it sort of takes you on that journey, but then also talks about the demise of them and how they stopped and how, like again with the invention of television. And suddenly, we're in a world where people didn't want that kind of escapism, but look at us too. We're fans of movies that were made, like nearly 100 years ago. So they must have done something right back then.
Oh, they definitely did. Bring it back. That's what I say. Absolutely. They will never, unfortunately, be that time again, but they were stars.
Hmm.
Stars were stars. So, yeah, I can't wait. Who are the stars, by the way? Who have we got? Who's your four
Oh,
performers?
we have a wonderful cast of performers. They are proper triple threat, and it's been amazing. Really, for in the musical theatre industry, as you know, we produce a lot of musicals, and these challenge, these numbers, these dance routines. I mean, if the word triple threat was ever invented, it was invented with these musicals. It's the singing, the dancing, the performance. It's when it all really comes together. So they're working really, really hard, but that's what you have to do to deliver these incredible numbers. So there's everything. There's tap, there's ballet, there's partner work. Yeah, it's going to be really, really thrilling.
Brilliant. I will get my best glamorous frock on and she'll be there and see you. I promise not to sing along.
I think you can't help it sometimes.